Okay, guys, today we're gonna be on the topic about Kwite. If you don't know who Kwite is, he's a YouTuber, a commentary YouTuber actually, and basically he's basically butt buddies with next talker, like on practically his boyfriend, basically. But anyways, what happened is that Kwite had a girlfriend, and for quite a long time, but his girlfriend finally came out about some allegations from this person called Veriska, number one defender. And basically she just said, I refuse to be silent any longer, read this. And this is a tweet logger, we'll get into that in a little bit. It looks like Kwite deactivated his Discord account. Good thing I got recordings of it. Okay, so basically, remember, like I said, these are allegations, not 100% true. Kwite has been with this girl called Veriska for quite a while, since 2017. Well, more of like a friendship relationship. Like friendship and then like to boyfriend and girlfriend. Basically, sorry, my chair's squeaking. Whenever they started talking to each other is whenever Veriska had found out about Kwite's channel. And he had less than 500,000 subscribers. If you guys want to read this, you guys can by yourself. Like I have it just right here. Basically, these allegations right here is basically saying that Kwite did some very naughty things to Veriska. Bad things. You know, the R word, or like green grapes, or like, you guys like purple grapes, right? Green or purple, doesn't matter. They're both really great, but we're talking about the R version, and that's not, okay? So basically what happened is that she's accusing him, or there's a supposed allegations that Veriska was eating some grapes that Kwite had gave her, okay? And basically she was saying that like the relationship that they had was really toxic and stuff like that. Like over the time, I guess whenever they were talking to each other, they had she found out that she had like autism and borderline personality disorder, which in my opinion I feel like it's really important to take account of that. But we'll talk more into that later on. Whenever they first started talking, they started to get closer and closer. They found out whatever stuff they had in common, like whatever mental health issues and whatever stuff, and then they became more than just friends. And also there's a little part where she says that she wasn't the most stable person either, which I also think is also a really good, valuable part to also remember or to mention. Okay, so we'll get into that later on. But like basically she was saying that like at times he would ignore her and basically just leave her and stuff like that, or you just basically ignore her, and whenever she was at her like lowest at her time, he would come back, and right here it says swoop in and save me and keep me under his thumb. That's what she said. And then basically she would just say that he gaslighted her and used her memory issues against her. And then whenever they started to get like more closer, I guess more in person, they were like, eventually we met in real life a few times. I had transphobic parents, so I told him my dead name to use whenever my parents were talking to him. But after knowing this information, he would use it as a way to belittle me. The first time meeting was fine, but then he had a rule where I wasn't allowed to take pictures of him. He was allowed to take pictures of me. After promising and begging to take a few pictures I still hadn't been posted for memories, he still let me take a few before he left. So in my opinion, I feel like that's a little weird. I get it, you want to keep your identity secret, you don't want to like give out information or accidentally have like information leaked about your face leaked. But at the same time, I also think it's kind of, I would just say don't take pictures at all. This is kind of weird. We're like, oh, you can take pictures of me, but I can't take pictures of you. And there's just another part where it's like the second meeting, however, it was different. We had planned to meet up while he was on vacation in my city, and he would pick me up in my car, and then we would both go to trampoline park and go see Black Panther. This was the worst of his behavior occurred. At this time, we were both on and off flirting and had discussions. If we were both single at the time, we take each other's, you know what. However, once he had come to me in the back seat of the car, and then they would eat grapes together. A few months later, he had gained a few more subscribers, and he started to ghost me more and more. For a while, I was having BPD, borderline personality disorder. That's what it is, or episodes of that. I got to the point where he called me to cut me off, and then our fight called me dyke, who thinks she's a boy and will never be. This extremely hurt me and internationalization, but thankfully, my social support system, I wasn't. Months passed. When I tried to come out about this emotional abuse, I started receiving harassment from his fans, receiving calls from my house telling me to not alive, furthering my poor mental health. Eventually, however, it subsided through the turn of events. I would be able to set off calls, recline with him in the calls. He tried to gaslight me further, claiming I had led him, whereas assaulted him instead of all in front of mediators who thankfully knew better to believe him. In the call, screamed at me, threw things and broke things, and continuously tried to gaslight me. However, thanks to Danny, Lord Bung had calmed me down and apologized for some of his behavior. However, I don't believe he was sincere. I truly am sorry that I stayed silent for this issue for years, but I cannot keep silent. I've been scared for myself and how the public will treat me. I'm too scared that I'm not only a victim to keep silent anymore. Anyone who may also have been victimized or more, encourage to DM me. And I hope you are doing okay. I know that many of you would not believe me. I don't care anymore. For those who do, thank you for your ears, and I hope that you'll stay safe. TLDR, they were eating grapes from Kwite, emotionally abused, denamed, called slurs, and gaslight into silence for 6 years. Okay, that's a lot to go through. I know it's not really looking too great for Kwite because it looks like Kwite deactivated his Discord account. Good thing I got recordings of it. Okay, I don't want to give her the just believe her, because in our society, there's a lot of allegations that go on and that are false. I'm not saying that hers is false. I'm just saying it could possibly. One part that is big to mention is the personality disorder. I think that was after the majority of the stuff, so then that was later on, or probably during the middle of it. But so basically, I feel the personality disorder is also another part of maybe she part of her decided to be no this, no that, and plus we don't know Kwite's side. We don't know whatever he has to say. Maybe he has another counterpart to say, or maybe he might fully admit to it. We don't know. So these are really big allegations. They took each other's first time, if you know what I mean. I think we should take this with a grain of salt, because I say we don't have Kwite's side of whatever he has to say. You shouldn't just take this for full 100% proof, because these are really big allegations, but there's not really anything that is proven right now of this recording that is actually true. And especially that she has mental disorder. She has a mental disorder too, which maybe might lead her to make something like this. She might be sporadic about something or depression or whatever things. Is whenever you're in those type of states, you tend to do things that usually are basically out of hand. I'm not trying to play down on someone. I'm just saying that that's how that's how a lot of people react in a lot of ways whenever they have mental disorders and things like that. They tend to do things that they tend to either lie or do things that they usually wouldn't. But yeah, these are really big allegations, and we should take this with a grain of salt until Kwite has something to say, or until she proves that Kwite gave her some grapes. I feel that Kwite is innocent until proven guilty. Like I said, these are really big allegations, and this is nothing to play around with. This is basically nothing to play around with, and he can basically just ruin his whole career. Let this play out. Let's see what Kwite has to say after maybe a couple hours, or maybe even days, or maybe weeks, a week. Because he can't just ignore this. This is really big. But yeah, I think that's it for the video. I'll talk to you guys later.